and welcome to the very first episode of EMP, Exceptionally Magic Podcast, in association with Merthyr Pro Wrestling. My name is Kat Von Cage and I'm the co-owner and trainer at Merthyr Pro Wrestling. Been wrestling on the UK scene for around 8 years.
And I am the exceptional Sugar Jimmy Vice. I've been wrestling around the UK indie scene for around about 5 years, and I'm also the co-owner of MPW and senior trainer there also.
This is Doggy Dog. He is insistent on being in the shots. I guess we'll start off by talking about what we want to do,
Yes.
And why we are doing this podcast. Before we go into a round of questions, we've got some fan questions as well to answer, and then also some like semi-generic questions that every interview kind of has to have, so you guys can get a bit of a background on us, right?
Yes.
Jimmy, why did we start this podcast?
So it was to obviously have something to look back on, first of all. Obviously a lot goes on, a lot happens in life in general, but
Yeah, true.
when you're on the road, when you work in different shows, meeting different people all the time, it's a lot to keep track of. Vlogs, podcasts, MVs, all that type of thing all help sort of solidify your memory.
I'm gonna second what you said in that, you know, I feel like it's nice to memorialise these periods in your life. Found some old interviews that I did from like years ago, and it's really cool to sit there and listen to my point of view then, you know what I mean? And also we kind of just want to, you know, highlight you know, talent that are sometimes you know, underused, undervalued, and, you know, in some cases overlooked completely.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to focus on the Merthyr Pro Wrestling roster, our core roster, and as you guys know, we've started YMPW, Ascol Merthyr Pro Wrestling. Ascol. Please don't butcher it. We've got our very own trainees that are going to be coming through, you know, within the next year, 2 years, depending on their experience already and their skill level. We're just going to try and keep it in-house as much as we can. And, you know, apart from this episode, which is obviously our pilot episode, the rest of them are going on our Patreon. So if you want to see any more in the future, you can support us by going to patreon.com/Merthyr Pro Wrestling. It's currently £5 a month. I can't see that changing either. No. Obviously we've got our the full show. Fully edited with commentary. You'll have access to every show that we do. We also got some, you know, really cool exciting stuff coming up with regards to content, exclusive content for Patreon. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and you know, it's a fun way for you guys to support us, and you know, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much if you subscribe.
Appreciate, yeah.
And you know, it's a way for us to kind of give back to you guys a little bit as well by, you know, giving you exclusive content. So let's get on with the questions. So we've got a couple of fan questions, which I will probably slot some in the middle of the questions I have.
Thank you so much to everyone
that
obviously sent questions in.
The way we're going to do this is I've got my book in front of me with like a proper news anchor with the questions. So I'm going to ask the questions. We'll have Jimmy to answer his, and then once he's answered, I'll answer with mine. First, I want to obviously give everybody a bit of a backstory about us and like kind of how and why we started. So the first question is, what year did you start training? And once you've told us that, also can you tell us why you started training? Like, what was your reasonings for wanting to, you know, start training? You know, did you know you wanted to be a wrestler? Did you know you wanted to go on shows, that kind of thing?
My journey as such into the love of pro wrestling started back when I was a child, really, as most do, watching Bret Hart and WWF as it was back then. Obviously fell madly in love with the industry. Always wanted to be a wrestler. When all my mates were saying they wanted to be footballers, or mine was always wrestling. But it was never really anything local to me. It was always like I think the same as what you'll touch on, that there was only a couple of like really known of schools, but obviously there was no internet back then.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
same for me. Like when I would have been watching it, like how do you know about these schools? You'd have to know somebody in them to know.
Yeah, there was no social media. There was no, there was no internet at all when I first started watching wrestling. So to try and find out anything was just, so there was nothing. So I went all through secondary school, going against the advisory, and I was trying this at home, and then
your backyard, are you?
No, not it wasn't. It was a living room. It was like no, but it was a living room. Like we used to put a duvet in some, and that was our ring, and not that it cushioned any of the bumps or anything. No,
it's just for effect, visual aesthetics.
Of course. So
aesthetics.
But yeah, it obviously then kind of not went to the back of my mind, but obviously as I progressed into like working life and stuff like that, wrestling didn't really. It was kind of one of those dreams that I just put to bed because I didn't think or know of anything that was going to happen. I stopped watching WWE.
Same. We have a quite a similar story.
Yeah.
How old were you, by the way, when you started?
When I started training. So I was 29. When I first started, so my first actual official training session was at PWL. It was good to finally see like a wrestling ring and see like how things were like behind the curtain, if that makes sense. So it was my first glimpse, and I did get a one-to-one tuition that session. I was really lucky. Gino, the wrestler's name was, so very, very appreciative even to this day of everything that he taught me that day.
Thanks, Gino.
Yeah. So I learned how to take bumps, learned how to body slam, lock up, punch in, strikes. So it was good. It was really good.
So what year was it? 2016.
I think this would have been 2015.
Why did you start like training? Like did you start training with it? Like what were your intentions when you started?
So obviously my intentions were to just I guess at the start was just to tick something off the list. Just
to say you've done it.
Yeah, just to go to training.
Yeah. Same, really, yeah. Same.
Yeah, just to see what it was about, and just to say that I'd done it, I guess.
Or to see if you could do it, I guess.
Yeah, and that was kind of it for a little while. I had a bit of in-ring experience at a fun day for PWL.
Fun.
Yeah, so that was like that was good because I was tagging with the Chavs. Nice. So Danny Gold and Cal Silver.
Oh, nice. So you've known Danny a long time.
Yeah. Wow. So I literally will insert a picture of the outfit that they lent me because obviously I had no gear. So I literally jumped in the back of the van to get changed into their gear that they'd lent me. And I also took a spear from Juggernaut, who was also a PWL wrestler at the time.
Big up PWL.
Literally, so yeah, I've got a lot to thank PWL for. So yeah, thank you guys to everyone that was a part of that start of my journey. But as I said, after I did that, it kind of like, not that I gave up on it, but again, life was busy, life was hectic. I had my own printing business. As well as working full time, so I just kind of put that put it on the back burner without realising that I wanted it so much, and then walked into the training school on printing business. I got put in contact with them
I didn't know that,
because I did some printing for Marty Jones, and he'd been there the previous month. It got me a lot of printing work when I first sort of started getting into the wrestling business. I turned up there on the back of obviously his recommendation to obviously offer printing. A training session was going on there, and yeah, it's mad reliving like that start of it, just to think like because now it's just so natural and so it's so normal, but the excitement and the like.
The fear as well.
Yeah, just that.
I remember
it's
like, I was like, oh, my heart was going like a million miles an hour.
Well, mine is now reliving it.
Yeah,
like
fight or flight. You're like,
yeah, it was just literally from there, from going obviously from meeting about printing. I went the following Friday then, and then never looked back. Literally trained solidly all around the country, really. So yeah, in different training schools. So. Did seminars and things like that, and obviously it brings me.
So how did we meet?
During my training, led to the opportunity to be a referee.
Yes, it did, didn't it, Jimmy?
Which we'll post a picture of.
Yeah, so guys, here is a picture of the exceptional Sugar Jimmy Vice. He wasn't then though. He was referee Jimmy.
Yeah, so that's literally, I think it was, just trying to think whether it was my actual first show of reffing that we met.
Was it?
I don't know whether it was my first or my second. I know it was very, very early on.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so I
wasn't very long into it.
Oh, you were a good ref, I never would have known.
I've had really good feedback.
You were a really good ref.
Yeah, I've had like.
Obviously, I've worked with a lot of refs, and especially at that point when we met, 2017, that was my breakout year, so I was everywhere. And I would never know. I would never thought like, oh, well, that was his first time ref. You know, sometimes if it's someone's first time ref, and you're like,
I can remember the first match, and I remember just being obviously so nervous because it's the first time you're going out in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And it's a big job, referee.
Yeah, there's pressure.
Referees, they get what's the word, and appreciated.
Yeah.
Because they work so hard, and there's three in a match. You know, in a singles, there's three of you. There's like us and the ref. So it's like, props to the referees. And
literally, they are important. They're really important. So it was obviously nerving because I didn't want to mess the match up, or like, you know, I'm a key part to that match.
Yes.
So yeah, I remember just sort of being in the ring, and one of the guys hit a move, and I just remember just watching, and I was like, oh my god. And then he pinned.
I have to count.
Yeah, literally, and I was like, oh, I need to pin. Like, he's pinning, I need to count, and it was just like that delay, but it was just. Yeah, and also as well, I think I used to have the clip, but I lost it. But it was literally I kind of got shoved over as part of the thing, and as I fell, my trousers were really tight, and they just popped and blew.
Never skip leg day.
So they literally just so I had to ref the rest of that match with
broken trousers.
Literally, and like I can remember I had to roll out to the outside, and the crowd were like, "We can see your pants," and it was just like, it was funny. It was a nice lesson to learn very early on. Wear baggier trousers. Don't go for the tighter fitting ones because the seams will pop. So yeah, but that's how we.
That's how we met. Also.
That's how we actually met. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I refereed your match versus Pablo.
Yeah. It was a weirdest
yeah,
class though.
Yeah, like inflatable. Oh, what was it?
Cherry Bakewell.
Cherry Bakewell. Yeah. There was all sorts going on.
I got crushed by a giant Cherry Bakewell, and was about to get elbowed under it, like through it, whatever on it. Under it, I don't know, but I managed to roll up the way. You'd be happy to know. So I don't know if this footage
there was so
somewhere,
much
but I know there's pictures.
I'd imagine Pablo's got the match somewhere.
Yeah. So big up Pablo and Caramita.
Caramita, yes.
Caramita, you won't be glad you did meet her. But yeah, thank you so much. So I'll give you a bit of my backstory. So I got quite a similar story, apart from having having a child. I guess you can't birth a child. So.
No.
So yeah, my wrestling journey very similar. I loved it as a kid. Always loved women's wrestling. No offense, guys, but obviously it's just what I can relate to. And I always thought like women didn't get enough of the quality airtime, like the right airtime. Not that I'm saying what they did wasn't good or anything, but as we all now know, it was a bit
controversial.
Controversial, yeah. And sometimes a bit questionable. But yeah, so I grew up obviously in the Attitude Era was when I got into it first of all, and fascinated with Lita, absolutely adored Lita, and by proxy the Hardy Boys, and yeah, loved it. Me and my friend Amy, shout out, we used to practice our entrances, so we'd walk into my room at the time, and then the bed was the ring, so we'd get into the ring or onto the bed and do an entrance. My entrance music was Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and that's what I swore I was going to come out to when I was a wrestler. Didn't happen that way. I was like poor opposite of that character. His stepbrother at the time he loved wrestling too, so he would basically like make us wrestle him. Like, it sounds bad, but not in a bad way. Like, he just put us in holds, but like legit. He obviously to try and copy when the wrestling was on the TV in the living room, and yeah, he just put legit holds on us and like try and body slam us, and we'd let him half time onto the sofa, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So yeah, I just loved it. And
until someone gets hurt and it's like, no, you can hit me, like, you can hit me, yeah. Don't tell me.
Ow! Yeah, like,
it's like, it's alright,
I want help. If you get me some chocolate. I don't mean milk, you got to. Always been dramatic, but no. So yeah, and then I kind of fell out of love with it in my teens because, like, I don't know, it wasn't cool anymore or something. I don't know what the reason was.
Go through a lot of changes.
Yeah, I think I was just like, oh, like, because I think I liked it, and then I think somebody in school was like, oh, that's lame. That's lame, that is. Oh god, okay. You know, I guess this isn't cool anymore. So stop watching it, and I started watching TNA then, actually, is what got me back into wrestling.
Nice.
It was in WWE's TNA, and Angelina Love, actually, who I've wrestled, which is just name I just dropped.
We'll pick them all up after.
Yeah, we'll pick them up at the end. There's a question, which means there's going to be a lot of names dropped, so, but that's fine. But yeah, I was watching like the likes of, you know, Angelina Love, Gail Kim, you know, like all these.
This is an era that I missed completely.
Yeah, all these awesome women.
Gutted.
This would have been, I think, like 2012, 13, 14. But anyway, I inevitably made the transition over to watching WWE again, and then found Nikki Bella. All my days, like, oh, just loved her character. Say what you want about her wrestling abilities. I know some people are mixed, but I think she's great. I love her work.
What's so good about wrestling, though?
Yeah, so subjective. I love her work, love her entrance, think her character's amazing, like, sorry, don't care. And she's just like super chic outside the ring, so say what you want. But yeah, and then I found Total Divas, and I was like, wow, like, you know, almost like you said, I had put this dream from when I was a kid on a back burner through all my teens and everything. Now I was like 21 or whatever, and I'm just like watching like Total Divas, thinking, oh my god, like these girls are like normal people, you know, and you know, learning that they have to make their own way between venues. In WWE, I was like, wow, what? So they haven't got like this big bus, like, so that big bus, they don't actually all go on this.
Yeah, so, I always thought they were. No,
like, they have to rent cars.
Yeah, it's
like, wow, and they couple just like we do now, like, you know. And I'm like, I was watching it, and I was watching them, obviously, you know, on a kind of grander scale, but they just, you know, going about their business and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, these are normal women, like with kids and families.
Normal lives.
Yeah, normal lives. Apart, you know, other than the fact that they wear spandex, etc.
Yeah.
And it kind of like started like the cogs turning, and I was pregnant actually at the time, and I was just like, wow. And I was thinking, like, I was really wanting to get back into fitness anyway, after obviously being pregnant and feeling and not being able to do a lot. I think I gained something like 3.5 stone. Like, obviously who cares, you're pregnant, it does not matter. But yeah, and I thought, well, wow, like maybe I should like try this. And then I literally googled how to become a professional wrestler, and found like this, like, you know, dummies kind of list of how to do it, honestly. And it's like, number 1 was like find a school, number 2 was like whatever, there's a bunch of advice on there. So yeah, that's what I did, and I walked into my first session on January the 11th 2015. It was in a little community centre on mats.
Which is amazing because that's the first.
That was the
first session.
So yeah, it was kind of deliberate. So obviously that was my wrestleversary, and the first day of MPW was on January 11th, 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was remembering then 2023.
Yeah, I was like 22. But yeah, so I walked in, and like you said, I remember that feeling of like, I remember driving there actually, and like the days leading up, I was like, oh my god, am I like, do I want to actually do this? Like, is it going to be okay? Like, is there going to be other women there? Like, what? Like, I didn't know what to expect. And I'd watched it as I tell a lie, I'd watched wrestling as a teen, but only indie wrestling locally, and it was Celtic wrestling, so big up Celtic wrestling alumni, I guess they are now. But that was it, really. I didn't watch it on TV or anything like that. And I had no idea that Celtic did training and stuff like that, so it was potentially a miss. But again, no internet, really. It was, very, very little. It was like, it was hard to...
People were still figuring it out.
Yeah, it was like hard... Yeah, it was hard to advertise things, really. So yeah, I used to go along to live events, because, it was a really good night out wrestling, isn't it? But other than that, I didn't really watch it. But yeah, I started in a little community centre on mats, and it was a class full of guys, super intimidating. I felt rather intimidated to walk in, and there was like one other woman there. So yeah, I just kind of stuck to her, and just carried on going. I was addicted. Felt like I got by a bus after my first session. I remember waking up the next day. It was a Sunday session, so I think it was like a 4 or 5 hour session. Oh my gosh, and I woke up on the Monday, I don't think I'd work, because I think I cleared my schedule, because I expected, and I woke up and I'd never felt that sore in my entire life, and I was like, oh my god. And when you're questioning your life, you're lying in bed questioning your life choices, and I was like, why? Oh no. Honestly, I ached in places like I didn't even know I had muscles, do you know what I mean? Like, it was insane. But I went back, and I went back, and I went back, and I went back, and I got addicted.
Yeah, it is infectious.
Here we are.
Because the more you learn, the more you want to learn. The more you're in the ring, the more you want to be in the ring. The more you like chasing that debut, and then when you debut, you're chasing that.
I think though my reasoning for starting was different to yours. In the sense that I started training, like I said, because I was looking for a way to increase my fitness.
Yes.
And to just make, better kind of good fitness lifestyle choices. And I thought that wrestling would help that, and it did, because obviously I picked up then like weightlifting, because of not because of it, but as well as it, I guess.
To strengthen yourself, right?
Yeah, because I'd done a lot of HIIT training to prepare for wrestling. So obviously I gave birth in November the 2nd, and then I waited a couple of weeks, 6 weeks I think, and then I smashed the HIIT then. So I had 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 weeks to prepare. And to try and get rid of my baby weight, you know what I mean, so I could feel comfy or whatever. But I did it. but I started, and to be honest with you, I had no intentions of being on a show or of actually being like an actual wrestler. I thought, for me at that point, I was like, I am so happy for this to be a hobby.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was grateful for it.
Was that because you thought that you wouldn't be able to? Or was it? So there was that self-doubt already.
Even terrible. I just because I had no experience in it before or any of that. Like, I didn't know if I had any ability or if I had what it took. And obviously, when I read that Dummy's Guide, that advice, it said like, try not to expect to do anything within the first 18 months. And I read that, and obviously got taught that as well at the school. And so that was just in my head, and I thought, well, I'm chilling for at least 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
But even after that, I thought to myself, even if I'm just a trainee wrestler, I don't mind. I don't mind. But as it went, 10 months later, I was debuted in a match. Did not feel ready at all, but we moved. I did it. I managed it. I was in a tag match, intergender tag match. Watched it back, like, oh. But it is what it is. You've got to start somewhere. But I loved it. I absolutely loved the feeling. So I've never been that nervous though for anything in my life. Like, I was on the verge of being sick before going through the curtain. I was so nervous. And I feel like I'm not as nervous as that now, but you know I still get really nervous. But I think I'm probably as nervous as I was for my second match. It's kind of stuck with me, and I still get nervous. But I think it's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Nerves always
you
mean you care. Yeah, that's always the little motto that's thrown around a lot.
Yeah, so it was really surprising to me to, you know, level up from it being a hobby to actually then, you know, doing it for kind of like a thing, I guess a thing, like crazy.
Well, I actually didn't think my debut was going to happen, to be fair.
Didn't you?
No. Yeah, the night before my debut, we were at training, and we were doing a kind of a run-in, break a pin up, get sent off, take a move, just like drill. Yeah. And as I got sent off, I was just told crossbody, so I jumped for the crossbody, and then the guy botched a move and landed down on my ankle, and I was just resorted to just tears in the ring because felt and heard a snap, like just you always fear the worst. I couldn't move my foot, I couldn't so it was just
what was it?
I don't know to this day. I went to the hospital. I had like an X-ray first. There was nothing there. It was just kind of then. It would have been months and months and months to wait for a scan. So I just kind of rested it after that. But I did still debut. Just literally struck my foot up. Tucked it into my wrestling boot. Loads of free spray. Couple of painkillers, and obviously the adrenaline of the match got me through. I just on the clip of that, I kind of jumped down off the apron and I land, and you can tell I'm a bit sheepish on it because it was still painful. But yeah, it was just I didn't want to miss out on that, and it was so nearly like taken away. So it was even more special that I got to debut when I did, despite what had happened.
Moving on to the next question. So, who is your biggest inspiration in wrestling? So, like dead, alive, it doesn't matter. Active, doesn't matter.
Anybody that knows me,
I know
knows this question. There is definitely two people. One still alive, one that's sadly not with us. And maybe even a third that is no longer with us either, unfortunately. So the in sort of third, I'd say, is Ravishing Rick Rude.
Nice.
Always loved his gimmick, his physique, his ring presence, his mic skills, everything. Just the way that he could annoy an audience so easily, but like he would be right, like the women would genuinely be looking at him, do you know what I mean, because he was like chiseled, just so it was like he was right. Secondly is Mr. Perfect,
of course.
Huge inspiration for some of my moveset, and
yes,
some of obviously my characteristics as Jimmy Vice, and then last but by no means least is top of the list. I mentioned him at the start. It's Bret the Hitman Hart, which I've had the absolute pleasure of meeting twice. I've met him as well.
Yes, we'll just keep a pile of names on the floor.
We'll just scoop them all up at the end.
Yeah, I'll get a dustpan.
Like that question, I'm going to mention those names, and I'm going to mention that I've met him.
Yeah.
It's very public knowledge. It's all over my socials. I was on a poster. We were on a poster.
Yeah.
With Bret Hart. That's something that I never in all my life would have ever expected to be on a poster.
Yeah.
Advertised at an event with Bret Hart. Like, never did I think that would happen. So. Yeah, that insane. So what I think I know, but you've already touched on and mentioned. But yeah,
I feel like my biggest. I know you did 3, but my biggest inspiration, like the one that I wouldn't even be a wrestler if it wasn't for them, is obviously Lita. because she was so what's the word, groundbreaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say she was a real
what's the word, like she completely changed women's wrestling and the aesthetic, that she didn't fit into the box. Basically, she wasn't like, you know, tall, blonde, boobs, a model. She was an alt girl, and for me as a fellow alt girl, I was just blown away. And it's, you know, obviously then she teamed with the Hardy Boys as well, so I was instantly just in love with those as well, both of them. I used to prefer Jeff over Matt, actually. I used to fancy Jeff more, but you know,
just hitting Matt's heart, just breaking. It's like, damn, I always lose out to Jeff.
But no, Lita is gotta be up there, number one. I've got a few, to be honest. Lita number one, 100%. Trish is number two. Lita and Trish feud, I don't need to say any more than that.
No.
Just iconic. And you know, I feel like Trish, again, also kind of groundbreaking in the sense that she was blonde and she was very attractive, but she was a damn good wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, was whatever, like amazing, like so just good, like
Has she officially retired now, or is she still?
I'm not sure.
Because I know she was doing bits and pieces.
I don't know. She's my inspiration. I don't even know. I don't know. I'll find that out. I'm going to look that up. But yeah, she just iconic. And obviously, I wouldn't know who Lita was if it wasn't for Trish.
Yeah.
So she has to be in there. So yeah, Lita, Trish. Coming in third, I'm gonna come in with, I think, there's so many. I'm just going to list a couple of more names. So like Nikki Bella, obviously, like I said, massive inspiration to me. AJ Lee's another one. Paige is another one. More recently, purely again, she's an alt girl and she's so good. And she comes from Britain. It's you know what I mean? And it's incredible. And she was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was one of the youngest. She's like the youngest Divas champion.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then another one, an inspiration of mine is Mickie James. Like she's got to be in there, right?
She's
also who we've also met, and Nick Aldis, and I gotta say they are
like.
She is both of them. Like the pair of them are such a lovely couple. We spoke to them when we were at WrestleFest, and yeah, just such a nice.
It's just one of those, person. Literally just. Couldn't have been happier to be speaking to us.
No, so lovely.
Like, it's mind blowing that we were around that, like, caliber of celebrity and talent. Like
insane. I'm forever grateful for that experience.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. It was truly life changing.
Shout out to Mickie James and Nick Aldis.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
Thanks so much. Yeah. It was an absolute pleasure and an honour to meet you.
And to have a picture with you as well. Yeah. Was incredible.
Okay, so the next one, we've had all nice ones. So this one is one that's probably going to make you think. So, what has been your biggest obstacle that you've overcome in wrestling? So, it doesn't matter, you know, big or small, like it's whatever you think is the biggest obstacle you've overcome.
Myself.
Yourself? Mm-hmm. Like imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so I think we've spoken about this in depth, but I do think that most of us, or probably actually all of us, have at some point in our lives had that imposter syndrome where you can be as talented, as qualified, as skilled as you like.
Yeah.
It doesn't care who you are. It will come for you. And it's like that voice in your head, and then it's like, oh, you're not good enough, or I've battled with that myself. Like and do you know what? I'm gonna say that is mine as well. I'm gonna say it's mine because
it's something that's not talked about enough.
No, it's not talked about. So imposter syndrome within not just pro wrestling, like music, everything, the arts within the arts is a thing. And I feel like everybody has it, but I feel like people cope differently with it, and it's especially
comes out in different ways,
yes,
right?
And especially with what else you have going on in your life at that time as well. Because I feel like I've gone through something terrible, and I have a memory of being stood in the ring at one of my favourite promotions that I worked for a couple of years ago, and I was in the ring with some of the best, at that time, some of the best female talent in Europe, like arguably. And I was in the ring, and I was in a match with some of them, and I remember standing there, and you know, we were doing meet and greet photos, and yeah, okay, it doesn't come across, you would never tell from looking at the photos, but when I look at the photos, I know, because I remember standing there and thinking, oh, like, why am I in here with these girls? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't wrestle the same level as these girls can. I'm not jetting off to Japan and WWE and all of this stuff. Like, I'm just, you know, little old me. Like, you know, like, why I don't deserve this. Like, what? Oh my God. Or like, oh, they're all gonna see me for what I am. Do you know what I mean? Like a fake. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not enough. I'm not. Yeah. It's such a horrible feeling. So yeah, I agree. I think that's my biggest obstacle that I've overcome as well with wrestling.
I think it's only.
Thanks for the reassurance, by the way. That was very nice of you.
No, I think it's only as well, really, sort of the last back end of last year that mine really that I managed to overcome it. Yeah, I think it was just. Yeah, it's just like I'll go to post on social media and I'm like, oh, who really cares? Like, who? I
appreciate that.
Like, who's going to be bothered? Oh, I won't bother. No one's gonna, because then it's the fear that if I do it and then it doesn't get like, and that's the dangerous thing with socials as well. I think is it's you look for validation when it shouldn't really matter. I should just be posting because again, it's stuff for me to look back on. It's like a document of
That's the way I think of my socials now. I always, because I look at my memories obviously every day on Facebook, and Facebook's where I have the most interaction. That's Capital Cage. And so sometimes I'll just post just because I'm like, I haven't posted on this day, I've got nothing in my memories, so I'll post today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try and post most days anyway. It doesn't always happen, but bless you.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It helps massively when, you know, when I'll put up, when I do actually post, and I'll sell merch from somebody who's literally like 200 odd mile away. And it's like, I literally went down that part of the country like once and they're still buying my merch now. So I like literally must have had an impact. So it's little things like that like help me battle it, because it's like, I am good at what I do. I am, like, I do deserve to be there, and I deserve to have been a lot more than what, like, I have been. Like, if only I'd have not listened to the voice in my head, I would have been pushing myself a lot more. So
I think it's a bit different for me, because I think you would have known that I was battling it, but I was.
Yeah.
Because my career I was on fire. I was everywhere. I was on every poster. Like, you couldn't open a feed without seeing my face on a poster.
Yeah.
And that's not even me bragging, it was the truth.
It really was.
I was everywhere. I was absolutely everywhere. Like 2017, 2018, everywhere. All across the country. So, but I was battling something terrible. Like, and I was sometimes I was wrestling, you know, like I said, some of the best women, not only in the UK but in the world.
Yeah.
You know, because don't forget, I was wrestling a lot of Canadian girls, American girls, like whatever, like, you know what I mean, and all these different companies, these internationals, and like, yeah, it was amazing. The experiences I had, amazing. But at the same time, I think, you know, I don't know whether I was going through the imposter syndrome because of that, because it was almost highlighted, like, oh, you know, they're so well travelled, they've done this, they've done that, they've done this, they've done that, they know so much more than I do, or they, you know what I mean? So then you kind of beat yourself up, don't you? Because you're like, oh, I'm not that good, I don't know, like, so yeah, I think it's a difficult one, but I think I battled with it for so long, and I think for me, when did it go away from me? I'd say probably 2019, I'd say it went away from me. Annoyingly, just before lockdown. because I released my album in June of 2020. That's right, yeah, because it would have been 2019 because I started writing my album in the summer of 2019. Yeah, so it would have been 2019. But yeah, I feel like the way, it's obviously everybody's different, but I feel like what I did to get through it was I would kind of try and speak to myself nicely, louder than the voice in my head. So if the voice in my head was saying, oh, you're not good enough, you don't belong here, they're going to find out you're fake, they're going to find out you're phony, you're not a wrestler, you're just playing, you're just pretending. I'd be like, no, I've trained my my A off, like, you know what I mean. I've had private tuition. I've put a lot of hours into this. I've sacrificed a lot of family events. I've done this, I've done that, and keep just trying to confirm to myself, no, you're not a failure. You're not lacking in any areas. You're not, well, you can always improve. I'm not saying, but there's nothing that
is giving you the reason to feel
that way. Yeah. I'm doing everything that I need to be doing, you know what I mean? Like, I'm training, I'm working every weekend, I'm working multiple times over the weekend, I'm working like international talent, I'm doing seminars, I'm doing it. So yeah, there was no reason, but like I said, I think it's not talked about enough, and I know that the stigma and the taboo around mental health is sort of clearing a little bit now. Yeah. So I think it's the perfect time to just bring this up, like, guys, imposter syndrome, real thing. Yeah. Don't go through it alone, speak to somebody about it, because you'll be surprised to find out they have it too. You know what I mean?
And not only that,
you can help each other.
Yeah, literally. Like, there's so much that I've found out for being on some of the shows, and you meet some of the guys from part around the country, and they literally know who you are. Yeah. Like, as much as you know who they are, they know who you are. The amount of times that I've been blown away because somebody has come up to me and gone, oh my god, I've waited so long to meet you. I literally love your gear, I love your boots, I love your gimmick, and like, it's just like, wow, it's mind blowing. So like, there was a constant like space of time that this was all happening, which helped me battle it, because I came to the realisation that, like, Jimmy Vice is known around the country. Like, I have wrestled top and bottom, and in between. Like, my name is out there. People and promotions are aware of me. Like, so it is nice, and I think that's, like, to anybody that's ever come and told me that, like, I really appreciate it, and like, same. It's amazing.
Yeah, same, to be honest. For anyone that's ever given me any kind words, like, especially, obviously recently too, but especially if you said it to me back in 2017 and 18, and even before that, because those words meant a lot more than I realised, or than that you realised. So
words are powerful.
Words are powerful, yeah, thanks for that. So next up we have got, what is your greatest, or what you deem to be your greatest achievement within wrestling?
It's really tough, because there is so many moments, like, in a sort of relatively short career so far. Like, my greatest, I think, has got to go just for the feeling of, at that time, for that short period of time, knowing that all my hard work, all my dedication, my time, effort, everything that I'd done to lead to that moment, was all, like, worth it, and it all had been, like, sort of appreciated and acknowledged as well, because there was a time when I did feel very, very unappreciated and underutilized, and like, so this, when I won my first singles championship, away from my training school, to which I'd gone out on my own and started there as a referee for one show, and to help them out, and that was obviously CPW. I won the CPW heavyweight championship. So yeah, I think that moment for me was one of the moments that was like, yeah, this is, this is how it should feel. This is how it should be. Like, this is, like, I've worked so hard to get to this point, and I've now been rewarded with this.
Yeah.
So for that, like, moment in time, that I think that will always be, like,
nice.
At this moment, closely followed by successfully running our own show, but I think that's a given, and that's
I can't believe you didn't say that. I think I was going to say running MPW.
Yeah.
MPW's debut show, because like a lot of graft goes into running a show, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. Well, you know, since I debuted, because obviously I started as a hobby, but since I debuted, I've always thought, oh my god, one day I'm going to run a show, one day.
I think for different...
But I suppose...
It's for different reasons, because at that moment it was such a critical part of SJV's journey. MPW is a more positive, like, thing that was more breakthrough of, like, I guess a finger up to everything that had, like, stood in my way beforehand, whether that's imposter syndrome, haters, people keeping me back, people belittling me, people like...
I agree, I think...
So I think that's why that one is, because, like I said, for that moment when that 3 count went down, that was it for me. I'd done it on my own, so with the support of that promotion. So
I think I'll say the same thing. I feel like winning my first singles championship too was I think for me MPW is probably my greatest achievement in terms of obviously not about really carbon cages then, but me on a almost personal level, so like, you know what I mean, and to do with wrestling.
Yeah, because
it's like an enormous amount of pride. Yeah. But obviously it's not something. Yeah, like Kat Von Cage has done it, she's involved in it, but it's not.
And do you know what I see it as? And it's the reason why it didn't come above that is because I see that, like you said, on a personal level.
Yeah.
Because aside from our, obviously, SJV,
and I suppose it's a separate company, isn't it? It's a company
so SJV and KVK are like, they're part of that, but brands, it's us personally that run it. It's our business. It's our, and collectively it's the alpha couple.
That's true.
So
that's true.
You obviously the question was, what's my?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's
our achievement as the alpha couple is 100% that. 100%.
Agreed.
And personally.
But agreed.
But yeah, as SJV, the heavyweight championship.
So I agree. My, I guess my greatest achievement. I don't know actually. I got a few.
You've got a long list.
I got a few accolades and
stuff
that I'd like to mention. I think because I am super proud.
Yeah.
So winning my first singles championship, like, honest to God, I'm going to be blunt, and I didn't think I was ever going to win one.
Huh.
3 years. Before I won the belt, and
it's insane to think, like,
3 years. And do you know what?
The amount of not people to bring,
not to bring negativity to this podcast or anything. This isn't negativity. No. This is me being real. So those 3 years, I spent basically, obviously I wrestled experienced girls in between. Of course I did, but for the most part, I was kind of wrestling girls that were like, I was green as grass. But I was wrestling girls that were also green, greener, always. And I'd be the most experienced one. So it was kind of like, I don't know. I was constantly like helping people level up, and I'd be in a lot of championship matches that I would lose, and it was just kind of like, I thought at one point I was just like, I'm a lily pad.
Yeah.
Remember I said to you, I am a lily pad. I am the thing that you use to level yourself up. You know what I mean? Like, you wrestle Kat, because Kat will help you. You know what I mean? Like, you learn, and then you go off and do bigger things. That's honestly how I felt. Until I won the championship. I think I'm glad though that it took me 3 years, because I feel like, saying that, I've won it twice. That belt that I'm talking about, the championship. I'm still actually the champion because I've never actually lost it. But the company's dead now. But yeah, so the first time I won it, in all honesty, battling imposter syndrome terribly, didn't feel ready at all. The second time I won it though, which wasn't that long after, it was a few months I think after, yeah, nailed that. Main event matches,
nice.
A dream. But yeah, I think, yeah, it was like, I was so glad to finally win one, because, you know, watching like other people win one after like a year, 2 years, 6 months in, and I'm like, like I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, and then, so my singles championships, obviously I made history in Wales by being the first woman to, to hold the tag team championship at RAW. So it was myself and PJ. We were the Burlesque Bandits. Good bit of fun. It was a good little run. It was lovely. Loved it. Loved everything about it. And also made history in Malta by being the first women to wrestle in a championship match on the island. The first ever women. Like, it was the second ever women's match on the island, but the first ever women's championship match, which I thought was really, really cool. And I think for me as well, like, just being able to travel to foreign countries and wrestle, do you know what I mean?
Something I've not done yet.
Yeah, I just...
I've not done. Unless you count, like, wrestling in Wales, a foreign country from...
Yeah, I guess it was too. But yeah, like, I think, yeah, the championships, the tag team, the singles, and then, yeah, making the history and making them waves. So yeah, next up, our next question. Oh, a nice one. The next question, what is your favourite wrestling move? If you had to pick one.
Right, I'm going to do one that's mine, and then I'm going to do one that is not mine. One that's mine is the Sugar Bomb.
Nice.
Mainly because when I first started using it, there was, to my knowledge, I did check. I wanted something that wasn't being used anywhere. So yeah, it was kind of like, it was different. It was like, it's hard to come up with something in wrestling that isn't already there or been done or varied. So obviously it was a variation of the Michinoku driver, but the fact that it is so over when I use it, and people know when it's coming and shout out Sugar Bomb whether I'm face or heel, is amazing. Like, so yeah, that's my favourite.
Interesting fact. It's a common misconception that the Sugar Bomb is Sugar Jimmy Vice's finish, when it is in fact a signature move.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Interesting fact.
Interesting fact.
Love to have it come across.
Yeah.
Or Sheldon
have
it
it come across. Like on the news, like breaking news. But interesting fact.
But yeah, people do genuinely think it's my finish, and it's not. Because if it was, then like everyone that pretty much has had it has kicked out of it, so it wouldn't be a very good finishing move. But no, so that's that. And I think the favourite, I'm going to go for the Canadian Destroyer.
Oh wow. Did not expect that from you.
No, because...
Not at all.
Because the first time that I ever saw that, I believe that was from TNA.
Nice.
And I saw it on a clip that somebody had shown me, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, how they did it, how they, like, it blew me away. It literally, I know it's such a chuck away move now, unfortunately, which really grates on me massively, because it's devastating to look at, and to just have it as a throwaway is just...
It's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, so Canadian Destroyer, I'm going to say.
Nice.
Just for how it made me feel when I first...
My answer is for the same reason. And my favourite move, it's actually one that I don't want to say I do, but I do. I've done it. I think I've done it twice.
Nice.
So not, or maybe thrice. And it is the Alabama Slammer.
Nice. Yeah.
So obviously Nikki Bella, when I started watching wrestling again in my 20s, Nikki Bella does the Alabama Slammer, and she does it very, very well. Thank you very much. So I adopted it.
Nice.
So yeah, and for the same reason, because...
Is that because you like saying Alabama
Alabama,
slang?
yeah! And it's so fun to say. Alabama, oh, she said it with the Alabama slammer! Like, it's so fun. So yeah, the Alabama slammer, also same kind of reason, because I thought, when I first seen it, I was like, whoa! The Russian leg sweep.
Oh, nice.
With the floor. I also like when you do a Russian... I tend to do a Russian leg sweep into a grounded octopus stretch.
Nice, okay, yeah.
But I do enjoy, it's very visually pleasing to me to watch someone do a Russian leg sweep and do the float over into a pin.
Nice.
That I do enjoy. And to be honest, when I was breaking in, I think Lana Austin used to do that quite a lot, and always super impressed by it.
Nice.
Just because it's like, it's so slick. It's like bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, now
obviously
you're in a
I'm
pin.
going to like that. Bret Hart used it, so...
Fair. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I do use a Russian. Do love it. Okay. That was a good one. That was fun. I enjoyed that. So, next question. So, we've just had favourite move. And so, favourite opponent to date?
The first one that came into my head was
I think I know.
Johnny Blaze.
Oh, sick. Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
Because of the...
Big up Johnny Blaze.
Yeah, because
it was such a good match. I was there to witness it, thankfully. So I watched it in Gorilla on the screen. And, I'm not even kidding. Every single wrestler that was backstage was popping. I was sat there with a good friend of mine, and I was like this on his arm, and every time he had to move or Johnny did something, because as a wrestlers particularly, I feel like we watch matches but we don't watch them the same way. As a fan we watch them. So once you start training, it kind of ruins wrestling for you, because you constantly watch it as a worker and not as a fan.
Yeah.
But anyway, on that note, that match, I was a fan. I was a fan. Everything was just perfect. The chemistry between them was just, it was electric, and it was a face.
Yeah.
He was really worried because he doesn't really vibe with face matches, because it is very much like one up, and it kind of it blurs the story a little bit, right? Yeah. But it didn't. It was fabulous in the end. So,
and we did get well done. We did get a standing ovation from the backstage.
That has never happened. That promotion, I've worked there for 7 years. No one's ever had a standing ovation and a round of applause off the wrestlers before.
So yeah,
no one has ever. So it's Johnny Blaze.
It's
tip my hat.
It's kind of hard not to pick that one. There are others that I would have if I hadn't have done it. So, like, if I had to do it methodically, and
I've got 3 in mind that immediately come into my head, but for different reasons.
Okay.
So top would be Angelina Love,
of course,
because that was a dream match of mine, and it happened on my birthday.
I knew that name was coming.
On my birthday. Then I think Alfie.
Nice. Yeah.
I love. We just have such good chemistry.
Yeah.
And Mia Cortez, because same reason. Like, we always have.
Yeah. Nice.
We always have a storming match.
Yeah.
No matter who's heel, who's face, what's going on, where we are.
Very, very talented. Like.
Yeah. So yeah, those girls.
Nice.
Actually, I'm going to change my answer. I want to actually.
Oh, controversy.
I want to take out Angelina Love from favourite opponent. Actually, I'm going to keep it as Alfie and Mia. Keep it for the British girls. I'll tell you why in a sec. So it's because the next question is.
Oh, okay.
This makes it easier for my brain.
That's cheating, though. I don't.
No, it's because I just evaluated and thought actually.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, that leads us into our next question, which is favourite match to date. So mine is easy. Angelina Love. Simple.
Stitch me right up
Definitely
again,
my favourite match to date. Yeah, Angelina Love, because like I said, dream match. That's why I didn't put it as my opponent. Not because I didn't enjoy it. I did. Just I'd rather it be a day. Yeah, that's my favourite match.
It's kind of hard for me not to...
Would you have said Johnny Blaze in that match?
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me not to like answer with that.
Yeah, true.
Because
that's fine. No, it's no rule. You can do the same.
Because there's like there is so many that stand out for me.
Mm-hmm.
My match against Joey Sanchez will always...
I thought you were going to say that, see. When you said Johnny Blaze for favourite opponent, I thought you were going to say Sanchez.
No, it's like not that he wasn't, it's just because you said it.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you think about it, and it's moments that I'm attaching these two.
Yes.
And
same for
again,
me with a match. That's
yeah,
why I changed
again,
to Angelina, because I'm like, that match was so meaningful to me, and it was on my birthday.
And the match with Johnny Blaze was like, we'd just, I think was that the first show or the second show back, that we'd come back after our hiatus.
Yeah.
So
second show, I think.
There was like massive pressure as to, you know, we'd taken a step back to focus on the businesses and growing other things. So it was like,
and to sort of mental health.
Yeah, right, definitely, yeah, to sort that out.
Take a mental health break.
And just reevaluate who
we are and what we want,
who
and where
we
we're
are,
going.
And the people that we want around us. Yeah. So we did a lot of like soul searching last year.
Yeah.
I think like that's a moment, because it's like to come back after being away for a little bit and to be able to put on a match of the night and get a round of applause that's never happened.
No.
As you say.
No. Never had that off the talent backstage. No.
Again, because I had somebody who I looked up to and like meant a lot, that he made the effort to come backstage, like from backstage. He was already backstage, but to come from where he was to come and greet me back when I came through the curtain. It was Jamie Future, it was. So, and then because obviously Ben was still in the ring celebrating, but he made the conscious effort to come over and tell me, and then to tell Sanchez like how good a match it really was. And I have to say, our alpha couple versus Dan and Natalie was the crowd were insane.
Alpha couple versus at the time the power couple was the
intensity.
It was intense, and there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, you were brawling on the balcony, I was brawling somewhere.
Yeah.
Then somehow we managed to meet again.
Yeah, there was weapons. Almost involved.
Yeah, there were. Yeah.
Actually involved.
Yeah, but, it was very good, very, very good. So I think that
this is why it's so difficult, because you'll think, oh no, it's this one.
Yeah.
But then you'll think back, and then there's that one, and then there's.
But yeah, I'd say that's up there, but that's alpha couple.
Yeah, of course.
So that's a joint. That's a joint thing. Anyway, that brings us to our next question. So, favorite submission. Sharpshooter, hands down. That was easy. Well done. That's like the quickest you've answered.
And it will be in my arsenal very, very soon.
Nice.
It already is, but I don't ever use it.
Out.
No.
Yeah, fair. What would mine be? I think, to be honest, the one that comes into my head first is the octopus stretch, like standing, you know. So
nice.
Grapevine,
yeah.
leg, head,
Nice.
Or and then a close second is the regal stretch, which I actually use as or have used as a finish.
Nice.
So, awesome. So next. Okay, so here's the one where I need to go and get the dustpan to pick up all the names that we drop on the floor. So who is the coolest person you've met, or people, I should say?
This is going to be.
There's a few for me.
Yeah, this is going to be in literally no particular order.
Just list them.
Harry Smith.
Nice.
Georgia Smith. Bret Hart. I've met Jimmy Anvil Neidhart when I was younger. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Oaken
that.
Gates in
Telford.
Got my picture with him somewhere. I think my mom's got it. The Bushwhackers.
Oh, class.
Spent a good hour after the show speaking to them, because at that point it was when I was in secondary school, and I was trying to speak to them about how to become a wrestler. They literally gave me and my mate at the time, they gave us so much time. I'll always be grateful for that. That was insane. Blue Meanie, Gangrel, the Mountie.
He was such a good dude.
Nick Alders, Mickey James.
I gotta feel that I am very rather chuffed about meeting. So up there, so this is an experience rather than just meeting them. So I did a Rhino seminar, and then went out for a kebab afterwards with Rhino and like a bunch of the lads and girls. So yeah, Rhino was really cool. Angelina Love, like absolute dream to meet her because, like I said, you know,
Brian Pillman Jr.
Nice.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Keep adding. That's fine. Bret Hart, obviously the Mountie, Mickey James, Nick Aldis.
You met Harry there as well.
I did
briefly.
I did very briefly meet Harry. I also met Emma and Summer Rae.
SoCal.
SoCal Val. Oh, she's such a doll.
She was amazing.
Yeah, she's really nice. And I've met Cody Rhodes.
Nice, yeah.
He introduced himself to me twice at the same show. He introduced himself to me, very polite. He shook my hand twice. So he introduced himself to me when I was in my civvies. Then I got changed. Obviously, at that point, I looked quite. Now my hair is pretty much the same when I wrestled. But at that point, it was very pristine and makeup was, you know, eyelashes a lot, very glamorous. So yeah, very nice guy. I was chuffed about meeting Adam Rose as well.
Chris Masters.
Nice.
It's good. I did his seminar. That was really good.
Oh, Jay Lethal. He was really nice. Managed to wrestle him also.
Nice.
Like training.
That's a hell of a
in a training capacity. But yeah, I
class.
managed to do some chain wrestling with Jay Lethal. That was pretty cool. Johnny Kidd as well.
Nice.
Oh my god! Like honestly, I learned so much from Johnny Kidd, and he's so nice and like always makes a lot of time for me. Which is always appreciated,
Yeah.
and he always is super interested in how the career's going,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, how I am, you know what I mean. Also, last but certainly not least,
but yeah, last by no means.
Yeah,
by no
Adrian
means
Street and
least.
Miss Linda.
There's,
It's so funny because a couple of months ago my son was trying on this really elaborate fur coat, like my mother's fur coat out of her wardrobe. So he was you know, going around the room with it, and I was like, oh my god, you look like Adrian Street. Yeah, and then a couple of months later, we were driving Adrian and Miss Linda to a gig, essentially. I was just like, to a convention. I was just like...
It's insane.
As it goes, like, such an amazing couple, obviously, and just absolutely loved listening to the stories in the car.
Oh, the journey wasn't long enough.
No,
it was
nowhere near
it was
long enough.
too short.
And getting to hang out with them and obviously all the other celebs that day was just insane.
It was.
So yeah, I'm gonna just scoop up all these names.
And there's still more that we'll probably once we finish, you know,
yeah, I'll have to add those in. I'll just add them in text. Also, I forgot to mention, like again, scrolling across the screen. But yeah, that was a good question. So I've got...
All these questions have been mega good.
Yeah, these will be my questions, so thanks. So yeah, we'll do the fan questions. So we've got a question from Danger.
Nice.
Who is our...
High voltage.
Our comms guy.
And training.
And obviously, yeah, and of course it's our training as well. And he wants to know, this is for both of us, so, like, individually. So, how many times do you watch your matches back? I know my answer. My answer is usually once. And I will watch it, unless, obviously, but I don't count editing it as watching it, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm sitting to watch it, that happens once, and that's when I get the footage. Obviously, I review it, I watch it. That's it. And then unless I'm editing it to make an MV or usually an MV, or I'm putting it into something else, then I won't watch it again. Well, I tell a lie. I do tell a lie. That's in like current time, but I suppose I have gone back and watched old matches. So I couldn't really give you a number, but I'd say in real time, like as the matches happen, like I watched them once, then I might rewatch it again in like 3 or 4 years, and I'll be like, wow, and see how I've improved and how much better my character work is and how much more refined my character is, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, that kind of stuff. What about you?
Lots. Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do have to say, I literally have all the footage.
Oh, we only watch them once together?
No, on here, the more recent ones, but
that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I had a load of them on my laptop, and when I used to be in the old studio, I would literally, like, I would watch a match or 2 or 3 every couple of days or every day, just to review, see what I could work on,
Wow.
and just to relive it. I think just to I guess, like, I suppose it means so much that, like, those little bits to see how far I've come and see how far I've grown. And
I will say, I feel like probably, I don't know whether it'd be the same for you, but I always find as well, if it's like a particularly good match that I'm very proud of, like, I'll probably watch it more times.
Yeah.
But if it's, to be honest, I've had certain matches where I've pretty much pretended they didn't exist. Because maybe not even something I've done, just something that's happened in the match, and I just thought, oh, like, there's no point even, like, clocking this one on the pedometer, do you know what I mean? There's no point. So I just don't watch it back because I don't relive that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I've had a couple of things in matches that I'm like,
that just didn't happen.
I wish that didn't happen.
But no, you don't though, because you learned from it.
Yeah.
You got something out of it. It's just, I don't need to watch it back and see it bomb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. But no, I literally, I have to say I have watched mine a lot.
Fair. Okay, next fan question. This is from Daniel Hancock, and again it's for both of us. How many titles have you won in your career? We wrote your bio the other day.
Yeah,
it should be on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah,
same for me though.
3.
3, nice.
So, tag titles, and then 2 singles titles. That's right.
I think mine is 5.
Nice.
I think. Yeah, BW, BW, tag team, Galaxy, women's, RWS. Yeah, 5 for me. Sick.
Nice.
But it should be noted that I am 2-time for one of those.
Yeah.
Of those.
Nice.
Yeah. So 2 times, so technically 6. But one was the same belt. Cool. Next fan question then is from, this is for me actually, and it's from A.G. Potter, and it is, what was the inspiration behind Dream It? So Dream It is a song that I released from my first album, Therapy. It's on Spotify. And the inspiration was, it was literally just, to be honest, like I said, I kicked my imposter, it's all linking. I kicked my imposter syndrome in 2019, started working on my album, and the song Dream It really was what it sounds like. If you listen to the lyrics, it goes, if you can dream it, do it. We only get one shot, never going to be the right time. So hurry up, make up your mind. And it was kind of like, it was kind of like, it's very chirpy, very 80s, very synth. And it was, to be honest, most of that album was very gloomy, very depressing, and it was about a very, very traumatic period in my life. So that song was just kind of like me saying, like, do you know what, like, if you can dream it, you can do it, but you just need to do something, because not doing anything is still doing something, just in the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? Like, inaction is still
making
action.
a decision.
Yeah, you're still choosing. Something I took from James Smith. Yeah, thank you very much, from his seminar on how to be confident. The C word it was called. So thank you for that, A.G. Potter. Next fan question is from Lee Bourne, and it is, who would you like to see win the Royal Rumble next week?
I know Cody Rhodes as...
Cody Rhodes, because he's such a nice chap and he introduced himself to me twice.
I know he's
Go on, Cody.
introduced himself. I would kind of like to, I think, see, just to finish it off, and just for the story of the whole, like, head of the table with Roman Reigns and things like that, and then gone through the generations, is The Rock to come back and do it. I don't really follow enough to understand who else would kind of deserve it, or like who I would like at this moment, if that makes sense. So
I'm sticking with Cody.
Yeah, I quite like Roman Reigns. So yeah, I'm gonna say the Rock, if he does in fact come back.
Nice. Well, that brings us nicely into our next question, which is for both of us individually. Do you watch the European version of WWE, AEW, MLW, or Impact shows? I don't. I'm going to be perfectly honest. At this moment in time, I don't watch really much. As in like pay-per-views. I watch wrestling, but only when
always watching wrestling.
I'm always watching. Yeah, we're always watching wrestling, but not. We don't keep up with the TV, right? Like these companies. We don't really watch these. So, we've been watching a lot of indie stuff lately, haven't we? A lot of like from different shows around the country in the UK. So we've been watching a lot of that. Mainly for scouting purposes, but to be honest, it's been fab. I've had a great time.
Yeah, I have.
And also, obviously, if we need to do any research, we watch a lot of wrestling that way. And I haven't done it in a while, but I do really, really enjoy Japanese women's wrestling.
Nice. Yeah.
So if I do go to watch it, that's kind of where I would go to, because that's what I like.
Yeah. But, I'll be perfectly honest. The reason why I don't tend to watch it a lot nowadays. If I was gonna watch anything, it would probably be AEW at the moment, only because of like
For me, it'd be. In fact, no, I did watch something the other day. Actually, I did watch some Impact. So yeah.
But it just because they don't just do the 10 million spots, and that yes, there is matches on that I don't know. I find wrestling as a whole uninteresting nowadays. For me personally, I'm not like thinking on anyone or whatever. You like what you like. I don't like it. Give me the Attitude Era and pre-Attitude Era psychology stories, like the crowd be more involved and into it.
That's true. That is true.
Giving like a match meaning something rather than just 2,000 moves that just have come to 100 mile an hour, and it just that's my personal thing. That's why I don't watch it nowadays. I can't relate to it.
I agree.
It doesn't.
I feel like it's changed. It's changed a lot since I've been doing it. But it's very. I don't know how to say it really. It's very like. It's getting more and more gymnastics.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of aesthetic,
Which as an audience for that, that's
in terms
fine,
of the moves and stuff, which is cool. But I've always, and I am only right now, interested in being a character.
Yeah, telling a story.
Telling a story and
having good psychology
and crowd interaction and reaction.
Yeah. I'd rather someone cheered for my music than the moves that I was doing. So I'd rather someone reacted when my music played than to the 5 flips that I've done before, because you know more as a
catch me doing a flip anyway.
No, but that's just I saw that quote the other day.
They say cats always land on their feet.
No, but I saw that quote the other day from someone, and it resonated a lot with me. I can get on board with that.
Okay, so we're down to our last 2 questions.
Nice.
So, what do you hope to achieve in 2023? So that can be you personally, as the alpha couple, or as a businessman generally, just generally.
To take everything that I'm doing, whether that's personally, professionally, together, or individually. Thank you. I was going to say singly, but then
same thing.
Yeah.
Will work.
Just to take everything to the maximum that I possibly can, and to achieve the most out of everything. So for MPW to be put on the map, even more so than it already is. The trainees to
continue leveling up.
Continue
and being so supportive of each other and amazing.
Literally building a little family unit. For JG Printing to continue to grow and becoming an even more name within the printing industry. You know, it's getting there. It is really getting there. And yeah, just personally to carry on living the best life. Like literally, like no negs, no, you know, just good vibes and just literally.
Same. I'm gonna second that. I'm gonna agree. So my goals are pretty much very similar. At this moment in time, I've got no real intention of really fully inserting myself back into travelling everywhere all the time. Our schedule doesn't allow it anymore. It just doesn't allow it.
Neither does my mental health.
Neither does my mental health. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, my goals are very similar. I would like to finish my second album this year. That would be amazing because I've been doing that one since my last one came out. So you know, it's been 2-3 years in the making now. So to get that finalised would be amazing, and like you said, to continue growing all of our ventures. So, you know, Alpha Capital Enterprises will just continue to grow, and YMPW will grow, MPW will grow, and
OG Custom Wrestling will grow.
OG Customs, and I also would just like for my reputation and my socials to continue growing as they are, and to continue getting such amazing interaction with you guys, the fans, and you know, and just to still be receiving the support and love from, you know, our nearest and dearest, not just the colleagues but our families as well, and friends. And I'd also like to make some I know we do anyway, but additional time for family and friends, and just making good memories. So we've come to the last question. Thank you guys very much if you watched all the way through. We appreciate you. Last question.
Pooch didn't make it all the way through, bless him.
No, he's too tired.
He's gone like...
He's tired.
I think it was all the names we dropped, I think.
So, Jimmy, Kat. Yeah. Do you have any advice or words of wisdom for any newbies or anyone looking to start their wrestling journey?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. I think most importantly, do your research on the school, the trainer, the trainees that are already at the school. Don't be afraid to ask questions and to, you know, have your own back. There are plenty of reputable trainers, schools, promotions. Be open, as we spoke about, the imposter syndrome. Work really hard, chase it, and just don't give up. Like, things are tough within wrestling. There is a lot that you go through mentally, physically, spiritually. Yeah, just keep pushing because it is worth it. 100%. There is some amazing memories. We've touched on some of them.
I'm going to second that, but I'm also going to add in, be mindful of, this is from personal, obviously, experience, but be mindful of making pro wrestling your sole focus and putting all of your energy into it, and then not having any left for your friends and family. Yeah. Or for your other interests. Because for as much as Jimmy says it's worth it, yeah, it is. But I feel like, and I wouldn't really go back and change anything that I've done. But looking back, I feel that I could have maybe, you know, spent a bit more time with friends or spent a bit more time with family. You know, just so they, I guess, didn't not see me for 2 years or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And also, I would say, again, I second what Jimmy says, but try and remember that pro wrestling is meant to be fun. Yeah. So, if you don't, like, say you're a newbie, you don't have such a good match, doesn't matter. I've seen a plethora of reactions from people when they have bad matches, and I always admire people that just take it in their stride. They composed. They go, it's alright, I'll do better next time. You know what I mean? But I've also seen the other end of the spectrum, where I've seen people storm backstage, they're kicking things, they're throwing things, they're screaming at people, they're screaming at their opponent, they blame their opponent when actually no, there's 3 of you in there, you know, in a singles, you, your opponent, the ref. So you can't, and try not to fall into that old thing of like, oh, it was your fault, it was your fault. No, and even if it was, doesn't matter. It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, then maybe reevaluate if and why you're doing it.
And remember, wrestling owes you nothing. You owe it everything.
Yeah.
Like, don't think that become entitled.
Yeah, don't come into it thinking like this, thinking, yeah, I'm going to get everything handed to me. Yeah. No, you have to work really hard for everything you get, and you have to work even harder to keep everything that you get.
100%.
And it's so easy to just, you know, just lose it all. So yeah, I think just stay humble though, work hard, be consistent, and most important, above everything, have fun.
Yeah.
And that's my parting wisdom for you guys. So thank you very much for spending this hour with us. I've been Kat Von Cage.
I've been the exceptional Sugar Jimmy Vice.
And you've all been exceptionally magic. We've been EMP. We will see you guys next week for another installment. We'll be on Patreon from next week. And we've got some fabulous guests. Do you want to introduce the guests, seeing as they're part of your wrestling history?
Yes, they are. The aforementioned owners, trainers, promoters, and real life married couple in Mad Dog Max and Elise.
Yeah, so we're super excited, you know, to pick their brains, if you will.
I can't wait to hear the stories. I really can't. Like, you know, you've got obviously a few more years on me. Mad Dog has got 20
plus years,
even if we added ours together, he's still got more. And you know, he's travelled, he's brought international talent over, he's had some matches against people that
insane.
Yeah,
he's done a lot.
So to hear his journey and Elise's is going to be and how they met and how
how that all happened and how I can't wait. So please, guys, if you will, join us next week when we will be joined by Mad Dog Max and Elise, the owners, promoters and trainers at PWL in the Black Country. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week.